happy end of 2024 and or beginning of 2025, depending on when I'm able to edit and get this video out. But it is my final video of the year, y'all. This is best of the best. And as easy as it might seem to make this video, this is actually one of the hardest videos and one of the ones that I dread the most. I'm just really scared of missing something. I even put it on my Instagram to y'all and asked, like, what would I be an idiot to leave out? And the things that y'all mentioned were things that I already had on my list, so I feel better. But I do leave it open for a part 2 if necessary, because I just have to give myself that mental leeway. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into the best of the best makeup of 2024. Alright, my background has changed a little bit. I got my Tibby color wheel over here. Woo, I love her. But then I have the like announcement stuff for both my lip liner when it came out with Thrive and now for my lip gloss, which came out with Thrive. And a lot of y'all were wondering if I was wearing it on my lips in the last video. I had not received it yet at that point, so no. This is it though. This is a little bit of the lip liner, but mostly it's just the lip gloss. And it looks like this. I wanted to compare it really quickly for y'all to my previous kind of nude shades from my Finding Ferdinand collection. I do actually prefer the Thrive formula because it's plumping. This one is not. So here is Haute Chocolate, here is Cafe Noisette, and then there is my Kackie lip gloss. So it doesn't have any real glitter to it at all. It's just a regular gloss. So Cafe Noisette had shimmer in it, and you can see it's not really similar at all to Haute Chocolate, but that this is a color value that I'm constantly chasing down in my routine. And you can go on the Thrive website and also see swatches of it on a bunch of people's lips. So it didn't, I don't think, get sent out in PR to anybody. This is not like a collab in the sense that like I'm getting some cut of like the sales or something like that, other than affiliate earnings, you know, that I would get anyway. It's more just a gift to me and an honor to me in the sense that I asked them if they could put my Kackie lip liner into their amazing lip gloss formula because I use it so much, I love it so much. And months went by and it arrived on my doorstep and I was just like very humbled and excited and cried. It's available on the Thrive website now if you want to check it out, and this is what she looks like. I don't think I'm gonna go in any order here. This is going to be pure chaos in that sense because I'm working from a spreadsheet that is not categorizing these things, and there are quite a many of them, so let's just go. I'm not sure that this came out this year. I think it did, but I definitely tried it for the first time this year. This has been a banger, and every person that I have talked to who has tried it has also found it to be a banger. So this is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Bronzing Powder, not the liquid. I mean, not that you would confuse the two, but when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about the liquid. The liquid was kind of hard to use and it has octinoxate in it for like no reason at all. I don't want anybody to be afraid of the shimmer. I don't understand why it looks shimmery in the pan. It does not look shimmery on the skin. And also, olive people, especially just like pale olives, unite, okay? My friend Rebecca tried this and it was breathtaking on her, and she is like green. So this is a really, really great shade that's not gonna turn orange on olive undertones, but it also is like one of my favorite, just like sun-kissed, natural looking bronzers for me. And I don't know what it is, I love a huge, abundant bronzer pan, and this is just really satisfying on every level. I know that these did not come out for the first time this year, but a new one came out this year, so I'm gonna talk about it again. I also think that this bears mentioning because so many other products of this kind came out this year, and this still remains the best one. So a bunch of these came out this year. I bought Mermaid Glow, but this is the Chanel Baume Essentiel. It's, I think, still like $50, and it's, you know, a whole bunch of product. You use barely any, and it really has the distinction to me of being the only balm highlighter that I have ever used that doesn't disrupt the makeup underneath, actually rehydrates the skin, looks really natural, really gorgeous. Like, we used it on Natalie on her wedding day. Like, that's how much you can count on this formula, that it's not just gonna gum your makeup up and look weird, and it's ridiculously beautiful on. So I cannot recommend these enough. I just wanted to put out another mention of that because they just keep cranking them out. This is Dragé. This is the first one that I got, and I think it's part of the permanent collection, but I did also buy Mermaid Glow this year, and it's really pretty. Next, and I am wearing this right now, this is the Dior Forever Skin Contour Stick that they came out with this year. They came out with it alongside the foundation. I've heard some really, really great things from people about the foundation. I did buy it, but the shade just didn't work for me. And so I didn't get a chance to really, honestly, like give it as much of a shot as I wanted to. I might go back and try it again in a better shade in the new year, but this is not only one of the most agreeable blend forever, just like creamy beginner friendly formulas, but also I use it constantly. And look, I mean, it's barely ducked below the little top of it. Are you kidding me? For something that is Dior priced, obviously it's gonna be expensive. This is one of the most cost-effective things I've ever bought. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know when I will ever finish this because I use it all the time and it never shows anywhere. So if you're afraid of burning through something like this, you're not going to. Okay, I don't have these on hand because they are literally, I have one in each purse right now, and that is the Edam Shoo Shoo Lip Gloss Lip Balm. This formula rose to the top so quickly for me this year, and it's also one of those things where it's like, I feel so validated by all the other people I trust who fell head over heels in love with it. It's really unique in the sense that it is vegan, but it is really tenacious on the lips. It wears beautifully. They actually do have like really cool little gourmand scents to them. They're not obnoxious. It doesn't feel like I'm rubbing a Yankee Candle on my mouth or something, but they're just pleasant, and it's a brand that's like pretty new. So I'm excited to see what they do next, but you cannot go wrong with those Edam lip balms. They are excellent and just a great experience to use altogether. All right, we're gonna be talking about several foundations today, and all for, you know, various reasons, but for, I think, the kind of the misgivings I had about really wanting to like wholeheartedly love this in the beginning, it has won me over time. And again, this is the Fenty Ease Drop Blur and Smooth Tint Stick. It is somehow both hydrating for dry skin and also this like kind of blurring hybrid powder finish when you get it blended out. It cooperates with anything. You can wear it as thinly or as thickly, that's gross, as you want to. I mean, you can get a substantial amount of coverage out of it if you want to. And also, all of this product in here is still accessible. You just keep cranking the tube up. So you can use everything that's in here. And if you are someone who wants a really easy foundation, right? I feel like if you blend this with a sponge, you get more of a dewy finish. If you blend it with like your fingers or a brush, you're gonna get more of a satin finish. It's so unbelievably beginner friendly, so user friendly, so easy, and the shade range is so big that you're really likely to be able to find something that matches you, which is great for something like this that you might not want to wear on your entire face. It'll blend seamlessly into the rest of your skin, and you can get so much versatile use out of it as someone who might use makeup differently every day. I'm so sorry if you've only been here for like the past few months because you're not going to understand this inside joke, but you'll get it pretty quickly, okay? You'll be in on it really soon. So Glossier came out with a bronzer version of their cloud paints this year, and I have been, obviously, look at this. I never finish a cloud paint, but like, are you kidding me? This is the shade Sail. You gotta do it. But they have another shade that I will put on the screen. I don't remember what it's called, but it is phenomenal for olive undertones. Again, not gonna turn orange on you. And this shade happens to be, it's just so fair and neutral. And just like every other cloud paint, it's incredibly easy to work with. I adore this stuff. I get endorphins every time I look at it. Like every time I run across it in my collection, like that's how I know. I'm just like, ooh, I forgot that that existed, and I'm so glad that I have it because it's so good. Listen, if you are someone whose stomach turns when a person talks about really expensive makeup and how much they love it, you're probably on the wrong channel. But I'm about to talk about like the most expensive things that I bought this year on my channel, and it is pretty much everything that I bought from Hermes Beauty. Like, I don't want to say it's worth it because worth it is different for everyone, but they're so exquisite that like, I feel like it is worth not buying like 3 mediocre bronzers or powders or blushes in order to have the quality that Hermes gives me, especially in their Healthy Glow Mineral Powder. I cannot explain this stuff. I can't explain it. Is it a bronzer? Kind of. Is it a setting powder? Kind of. It's not a highlighter. And honestly, their highlighter is a little bit intense for me. I think that the Healthy Glow powder is the one that I would recommend across the board. Like if you're gonna spend money on an Hermes product, it's gonna be that Healthy Glow powder. I've never experienced anything like it. I don't understand how something can be both a powder and a bronzer at the same time and be just so elegant and flattering on the skin. It's ridiculous. The blushes are lovely. The lip gloss is lovely. The foundation is nothing to write home about, but I love their weird sheer lip balms. They're beautiful. And obviously the packaging is incredible, but the one that really rose to the top and blew my mind this year was the Healthy Glow powder. If I didn't mention this, people were going to think I had gone insane. I cannot shut the you-know-what up about these. Hindash's highlighters that came out this year are off the charts. Some of the most discerning people in my life have used these and been like, this is a mind-blowing product. Like, why aren't more people talking about it? Because you look at that and you're like, it's a highlighter. You know what I mean? That's a highlighter. I've seen highlighters before. The way that it goes on the skin, it's not normal. It's inexplicable. It doesn't look like a Becca shimmering skin perfector. It doesn't look like the Natasha Denona highlighter. It doesn't look like a Boma Sentinel. It looks like incredible skin. And I use them on my eyes, I use them on my cheeks. That's the only highlight that I have going on right now. And I use Liluna on my inner corners. I use Doll Dynasty on my eyes, pretty much, you know, everywhere but the crease. And I put Doll Dynasty here too. And then I can also get use out of Peak Heat. They're only $40, which is bananas for what they are. And if you ever watch Hindash's, I don't think they're tutorials, they're more just like really beautiful demonstrations on his Instagram or on his TikTok, you see him create these unbelievably seamless and flattering makeup looks that also convey such a keen grasp of tone, undertone. Hindash is like me, we started out as painters, and you can really see it come through, not just in his style of doing makeup, but also I feel like he has such a unique point of view in the products that he puts out, because it's like, I'm making this because it needs to exist. This doesn't exist anywhere else. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to all of us. And I don't know, you know, what his lab or manufacturing situation is like, but I do know that it can be difficult for one reason or another to restock these things at times. And so I would recommend getting them if you're interested, because you never know. You just never know. Like small brands, sometimes things go out of stock for like a year. Who knows? All right, this is living downstairs right now because I use it as part of my morning skincare most of the time, but the In Beauty Project SPF. Oh my gosh, it's the tinted one. I think it comes in 3 shades, I think. But it is so lightly tinted, and it's more of like a texture on the skin, like a really flattering diffusion of like blurring on the skin, that I can wear the same shade as Hindash, for example. Like we're both light medium. The stuff is remarkable. The way that it adheres to the skin, the way that it looks so natural, but just improves the appearance of your skin so much. It seems almost like a complexion product, but when you swatch it, you're like, there's not, I just see that there's not that much coverage to it. It just happens to have a really unique way of reflecting light and blurring the skin. So I can't recommend that stuff enough. Usually you don't hear me talk about American SPF formulas, but that one is so elegant. All right, I want to talk about the entirety of Kulfi, but mainly I want to talk about the Lassie Lips lip oils. I think that these flew under the radar unfairly this year. This is one of the most impressive formulas that I have ever seen, and it's definitely the most innovative formula that I came across this year. It has just stood out in my mind since I tried it, and everything since I've gone, yes, is this great? Okay, but how does it stand up to the Kulfi lip oils? Because I just didn't hear enough people talking about these. And especially in this year being just so full of tinted lip balms, this didn't really get included in the tinted lip balm conversation, but it should have. So the Rare Beauty version of this, those lip staining oils, they kind of all stain the lips the same color. These are different. When they stain the lips the color in the tube. So you're not getting any kind of like, put it on and then 10 minutes later it's different. I don't want that. I want the trueness of this color and I want it to last. So you get the stain and then you get this gorgeous, like, wet layer on top that, I mean, it's not watery necessarily, but it is truly a nourishing balm that grips, and the colors are gorgeous. This is just such, if you're like a lip color person and you want something that looks really subtle but you want it to wear for a long time, I can't recommend these enough. It's just such an innovative formula. I feel like they took something that has existed in the market and made the most exquisite version of it that performs in a way that we kind of didn't know we were allowed to expect. It's awesome. I do think that it has a specific customer, but for the few people who have, on my recommendation, bought it and then reached back out, they're like, yes, this is incredible. I've never experienced anything like this. It is really, really cool stuff. Look at the stain. That is not hot pink, friends. That is the exact same color as what I put on my lips, and that was rose, I think. Yes. So it's just so awesome to have something that stains the true color, and it also happens to be an incredibly comfortable and nourishing formula. Okay, this is another one that flew under the radar as far as I was concerned. I feel like when I get Laura Mercier PR, it's like I have to just, you know, ground myself and be like, okay, I need to appreciate the subtleties of whatever makes this release different, because Laura Mercier is not out here trying to make the next newfangled, wild, surprising thing. It is usually a tweaked version of something that they already know works. And last year that did not prove out very well. They put out a pressed powder that was, in my opinion, very bad. It was basically just like a chalky highlighter for the whole face. It made no sense. This year, and yes, I need to take my Scotch tape and unhard pan this. This is really special. So this is the translucent pressed setting powder. It is in the circular container, not the square one. That's a really easy way to remember it. So yeah, translucent pressed setting powder, ultra blur. It did come with a puff underneath, but I don't ever use things like that. The thing that I adore about this and what sets it apart is that, yes, I love my Kosas, which, by the way, the clasp failed in my last trip, but it is what it is. Anyway, that one has a really gorgeous blur that builds coverage, not like so much coverage as like the, you know, Hourglass Veil powder that's like bulletproof, but Kosas does add like a color to the skin as it's blurring. This does not. And it's not just translucent. There are other kind of like translucent tones that they've done. So it's not just, you know, one powder to pretend to rule them all kind of thing. But when you put this on, it controls a little bit of the shine, but it is entirely undetectable other than that. It is one of the most deftly imagined, delicate powder formulas for people like me. I have very dry skin, but that doesn't mean that I want everything to be sludge on me all the time, or that I always want my whole face to be glowy. Powder is often the enemy for me in terms of my skin texture looking good. And this is something that never cakes or looks really present on the skin. In fact, it is literally invisible, but also never changes the color of what's underneath it. I could put it on top of a cream blush and the color would stay true. It's a remarkable product, one that flew under the radar this year, and it's definitely worth checking out. Not if you have combo or oily skin and actually need oil control. That's not what this is for. I'm so sorry, but at least I'll save you the money by telling you don't do it. Use the regular Laura Mercier, like the loose powder. It's great for that. This room is an absolute nightmare because it's the end of the year and I needed to accommodate my object permanence, but like it's gotten to the point where I can't find anything. So understand when I say that we all know how much I loved the LYS Higher Standard Blush in Focused this year. It is such a unique formula in the sense that it looks like it's gonna be a freaking highlighter on the skin, okay? Like it looks so shimmery in the stick, and when you put it on, it is, I think that they call Focused like a warm cinnamon color, which is so funny because it's like, who knows what that means? And when you put it on your skin, you're like, I still don't know what that means. I just know that it is the perfect sunburn shade for my skin, and their shades, the colors that they choose in all of their blushes are so dialed in. I call them one and done blushes because I do tend to think in color theory a lot of times where I'm like, what color do I want to achieve? And then I will kind of think of really pure shades in my collection and pull them and layer them. But the blushes from LYS are ones that you don't have to do that with. That's how incredibly beginner friendly they are. It's a really beautiful formula. They're 20 bucks at Sephora, and they are a blush that like when you find your shade in it, you don't have to like worry about layering it with anything ever again. It's just a beautifully easy formula to work with, and the colors are dialed in to perfection. So don't be afraid of the shine. It's just making a nice blur on the skin. Gotta pull this bad boy out of my travel bag because I took it to Florida with me for Christmas. This is the Makeup Forever HD Face Essentials palette. I freaking adore this thing. I use the daylights out of it. Don't look too closely at the contour. I don't know why the contour specifically has collected like eyelashes. I don't know. But such an intuitive thing for me to own because it has everything that I want when I'm traveling. It has so many options, but also for people who are kind of new to makeup and they want to start playing and understanding like what looks good on them and what they like in terms of texture, in terms of color, in terms of whatever. These palettes, because there are a few of them, there's this one, there's the deeper one, and then they have the new, you know, Tropical Skittles one. These are the kinds of things that if this is how your mind works, it is so useful in a beginner's makeup collection because it's so forgiving. You can mix the colors together if you want, and you just start to understand like what maybe the depth is that you want of your bronzers, or like what tone, undertone, whatever that you want to go for with your blushes on a day-to-day, and like why some look different than others or whatever. But like sometimes this isn't the way people's brains work, but when it is, this is so much better for me to recommend to people than like a single blush or a single brand even. It's like, just try this and get your feet under you. And it's not like, oh, once you figure it out, you'll never use it again. It's like you know, move on. I think that this is something that becomes a mainstay because it is so useful. So I love this thing. I use it constantly. I can't recommend it enough. This won't surprise y'all anywhere near as much as it surprised me, okay? This is the Merit Brow 1980, and they reformulated it this year. I don't know what it was like before. I might know what it was like before, but I don't remember. But I bought it because they said it was new on Sephora, and boy, were we at an absolute dearth for new releases there towards the end of fall. And I was just like, I don't know, if it says it's new, I'm gonna give it a whirl. And I gave this a whirl. I got it in the shade Taupe. I love this. It is very similar to Boy Brow, but it also has a little bit of like the Kosas to it. And so it's got hold. It's got a really, really beautiful texture that isn't super shiny. It isn't super wet. It isn't too grippy, but it does have hold to it. And it is effortless looking. It never goes onto my skin. Oh, and it doesn't break me out. That's huge. There are so few because people love to put, brands love to put all these like waterproof ingredients into brow products. And I would say that your brows, despite your best efforts, are probably the things that like makeup gets stuck in the most. And you probably don't give them as much attention in terms of, you know, scrubbing the makeup out of them every single day. At least I realized I didn't when I was using the Gen C one, and it broke me out all the way up my forehead. Okay, so this is one that does not affect my sensitivity around there, and the formula, whatever they did with the reformulation, is gorgeous. Okay, this is in the next room because I keep it in my bedroom because it's actually so nourishing, but I wanted to say something nice about Milk Makeup this year. They sent out, I think in the beginning of the year, the clear Odyssey lip oil. And since then they have expanded the shade range, and I'm really glad. But they also did the Kush lip oil, which is so bad. So that felt really confusing, but I think it's really important to draw the distinction there. Like, I have such good things to say about that Odyssey lip oil. It's really a gloss. It has a beautiful applicator that's like really, really easy to use. It's one of kind of those curved, slightly doe foot applicators. Awesome. And it's nourishing. It's beautiful. It smells lightly of vanilla. I haven't tried any of the shades yet, but I really want to because it's really lovely. And also I wanted to, again, disambiguate the fact that this is not the Kush lip oil. It's the Odyssey lip oil, and it's so good. All I'm doing right now is going into like my travel bag and just pulling these things out because it's so clear that I loved them so much. So this is the Couture Mini Clutch from YSL. Did I try this for the first time this year? Possibly. I tried 200, 100, and then 300. I bought the other two, I think, but this one was given to me by my friend Steph because she just had an extra that she'd gotten in PR because she is just YSL rich. I wish I could be YSL rich. Either way, this is the one for me. But they did come out with like this really pretty like brown one that's for deeper skin tones this year that has cool and warm in it. But this formula is So gorgeous. Reminds me a lot of Surratt. It's a little bit kind of looser and dustier than Surratt. It doesn't like, you know, it's not as pressed, but it's just as creamy and blendable. And if you've followed me for a couple of years, you'll know that I went through this phase of being really frustrated buying luxury eyeshadow quads and being like, why can't anyone make a quad, besides Charlotte Tilbury, that is like an eye look? You know, I always felt like that was supposed to be the point of a quad unless it declared itself like this is a, you know, a quad of pops, which she has done. But when it's just a normal quad, you want it to be something where I just want to travel with this. That's the whole point, is to like simplify your life by giving you, yes, some options to dial up or dial down the drama, but I need a difference in color value, like, you know, depth and light, and then also like texture and temperature. So like this brown is a little cooler, this tan is a little warmer, this cream is pretty neutral, and then you have this lovely wearable, very, very pretty, but also a little bit exciting golden shimmer that you can put on the top. This has just been something that I travel with all the time. It's so easy to use. It fits in my brain, it fits in my bag, and it's one of the few brands that I feel like every single one of these quads is actually a freaking eye look, you know? It all comes together. Okay, we have to talk about the Rabanne lip balm. Okay, this is the Love Balm in Soul Kiss specifically because this is one of the most unique and remarkable shades, and every single person who I have introduced it to has fallen head over heels in love with it. It is a really interesting kind of gray mauve that when you get it on the lips, it's a little bit similar to, it's like if someone really desaturated my Kackie lip gloss to the point that it just gives a translucent sort of mauvey gray haze. And my mother uses it as just kind of like an almost lipstick from Clinique, but it's like a more muted, much more muted version of it. I use it sometimes on its own, but a lot of times I use it as a lip contour because you can kind of use it right here in the corners of your lips and give your lips this illusion of more plumpness. And the best thing about it is there is no fragrance and there is no flavor and there is no sensation. And that is why I always feel comfortable telling people about it. It's like, yes, this is incredibly unique. It's a very nourishing formula. People love it. And it's not gonna piss you off by doing something, you know, one of the cardinal sins. I think it might have come out this year. If not, I tried it for the first time this year and it's great. We talked about NARS in my last video, but I do want to briefly mention them again because I think that they are kind of entering a new era of just excitement and having a point of view. And the two things there are the blushes that they came out with. You know, obviously these are the same blushes that they've had, although I think this is a new color. This is Impassioned. Natalie made me buy this. But also the explicit lipsticks. I think that if you are searching for a lip and cheek, so a blush that's in a unique color, like that's why I bought Envy. I was actually with Hindash at Blue Mercury, I think. And I just started swatching, and I was like, this is really beautiful for my lips, but it's such a sheer formula that it also works beautifully as like a nude blush. And especially when it's warm outside and my skin is actually doing okay and I'm just wearing a sunscreen, I will love to just in like the flip down mirror in the car, put a little bit of something on the lips and a little bit of something on like the same thing on the cheeks and just, you know? And oddly, those explicit lipsticks happen to be incredible for that. I was really scouring Sephora for interesting colors of blush one day, and I started swatching those lipsticks and I was like, this is the display of interesting blush shades. They just happen to be lipsticks. So if you love the Merit formula, I highly recommend checking out the explicit lipsticks from NARS. Another banger that, yes, it does get its flowers, but I feel like I want more. I just want more. I want to see a whole range of them. I'd love to see like a grungy gray brown and stuff like that. Either way, the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment is just really good. There's something incredibly special about this. This is the Cocoa Creme shade, and excuse me, it is also kind of a purpley brown, but it's a little bit warmer. So it's got a little bit of burgundy to it. It's so beautiful. It's like that little tiny bit of drama, or if you have deeper skin, it's like that really pretty natural looking flush on the lips, and it's incredibly nourishing. So it took me a while to want to try it because Ole Henriksen has always made products that just for some reason smell like oranges. Like all of his skincare products are like very vitamin C based and just smell like oranges, and I'm like, this doesn't have anything to do with me. And so those were kind of a curveball in the best way possible. And of all of the tinted lip balms that I tried this year, of which there were so many, That one was like top 3. So this year, a friend of mine did a video where she asked a bunch of her favorite creators for recommendations for makeup items, and I watched her video and I watched another creator recommend this primer from One Size. Okay, One Size Beauty was just not really on my radar. I had seen Raw Beauty Kristi try them and everything looked so pigmented. I was like, I don't think that's for me, like we'll see. And it's also very like matte, high glam, all of that, and all about like long wearing. It felt very reminiscent of like, you know, 2016 to me, and I was just like, that's great for those people, not so much for me. However, it is this primer that is called Secure the Glow. It is a tacky hydrating primer. So it leaves this really, really gorgeous, wet, hydrated texture on the top of the skin, but it also acts as a, you know, a long wearing primer, and it improves the look of my skin so much before I put makeup on. Like when my skin is just so dry, it is so hydrating and it is so cosmetically elegant, and it's really, really beautiful. So for people who, like me, you know, just haven't really found that brand particularly appealing, you didn't want to go experiment with it or anything, if you have dry skin, I highly recommend that primer, even if all you want to do is wear it alone. It's just pretty. Speaking of things that are pretty and that give you a glow, Patrick, I really wish that y'all had put my label on straight. It just looks so bootleg, you know? Looks like I bought it in like the flea market, you know what I mean? Either way, this is the Patrick Ta Major Skin Hydrolux Luminous Skin Perfecting Foundation. Did I put Patrick Ta in his flop era in my fails video? Yes, I did. Did I mention that this is the main exception? Yes, I did. I also, just for irony's sake, I did put on the only one of his shadows today that I really like, and that is this one. So I technically paid $84, no, $126 for this. So that's a really expensive shadow to have bought 3 of these compacts in order to get one shadow that I like, but I did put it on today because it's sporkly. But this is really special, but it has a very specific customer. This does feel like a formula that is first and foremost for people who have extraordinarily dry skin. It's interesting. Like when you first put it on, especially if you put it on like kind of a lot of it, you'll be like, oh my God, it's gonna stay slippy, it's gonna stay sludgy, it's gonna, you know, never set down on its own. I'm gonna have to powder it to death, and it is not something that looks like it wants to be powdered. You know what I mean? It looks like it's gonna make mud as soon as you powder it because it's so wet looking. And then you give it like, I don't know, 15 minutes at its like highest coverage, right? I would say that it doesn't need that long if you just put on a thin layer, and you're like, wait a second. I think that they captured the technology that was being used in like those non-transferring lip glosses that they were putting out like last year or the year before. I think that was the year before, which were kind of gumming up in the corners of people's mouths. It was like a really okay idea that just did not prove out because your mouth is so stinking wet. I think that this kind of has that, the way that it lays the pigment down on the skin, but it stays this really beautiful dewy texture. Like the finish of it looks so dewy and hydrated. But I remember, I mean, it was honestly like an experiment that I did on my own, and then I did it in the video. I waited, you know, 10-15 minutes, and I took a piece of toilet paper, right? And I just pressed it against the side of my face, and I held it up, and like the makeup doesn't transfer. It's a wild formula, and I recommend it specifically for people who have outrageously dry skin, especially in the winter, because it is so hydrating. And it's not like the Makeup by Mario foundation where it's like, this is really glowy. It just stops there. It doesn't sit down. It doesn't like powder. I did not like that stuff. And I don't really like Patrick Ta's original foundation either. It kind of had the same issue of being like, okay, it's there, now what? This has technology. This has a lot of technology in it. And I invite you, if you do have very dry skin, to try this, and also to just sit back and appreciate and try to understand what this formula does as you're applying it and as it's sort of like chilling on your skin, because it's worth it. It's worth the little bit of wait for it to like do what it's supposed to do on your skin, because then it wears all day and still looks healthy and dewy. It's awesome. I don't recommend powdering it. If there was anything on my channel that like this year I made it my entire personality for a while, it was that freaking Prada foundation. That stuff is excellent. Excellent. It is definitely foundation release of the year for me. Foundation, not skin tint. foundation. Beautiful. So utterly gorgeous. Wears feather light. Provides a bit of coverage. You know, it still behaves like a foundation. A pretty great shade range. I didn't hear a lot of complaints about it in terms of people not being able to find what they wanted. And I also found it to be the foundation that seemed to accommodate the most skin types of any foundation that's ever worked for me. You know, if something works for me, it's usually like, do not, if you have oily skin, do not, just don't. Because I need so much hydration. The way that the Prada foundation seemed to be so kind to my skin, but it also worked for like just about everyone else, not everyone else, but just about everyone else, I was like, this is really special. I don't know what they did there. It doesn't have something noticeable like the Patrick Ta in the sense that it like has a party trick. It just is good. It's just really, really good. It makes your skin look really, really good. It's really lightweight. I would say it's like solidly medium coverage, and you can get glam out of it or you can get everyday out of it, and it's just incredibly beautiful. It also happens to have, and I didn't even realize this when I bought it, but it has some kind of like very new obscure chemical sunscreen ingredient in it in a very small amount that does not bother my skin at all. I just thought it was worth noting because someone told me about it later. They're like, there's a sunscreen in it, and I was like, I've never heard of this ingredient, and maybe it's, you know, something from like Asia, you know, where they're far more innovative with their chemical sunscreen formulas. So either way, it's absolutely gorgeous. The rest of the product releases this year have been good, but that foundation was just off the charts. Like I said, I made it my entire personality for like a really long time this year. I kind of feel like the theme of my best of the best this year is like, did it do something beautiful that I can't explain in a way that was so easy that I also can't explain that? And this falls into that category so solidly. This is the Revi Effortless Lips, and I think that that is just such an apt title for this because they are so effortless. You almost never see me just put on a lipstick and then leave it there. I'm usually like, and here you go, have a nice look at it, I'm wiping it off and I'm putting on a lip gloss because I like my lips to not steal the show. I want color, but it's a really, really fine line that I have to walk. So this is Allie Glines' line that she released this year, and I think that there are 9 shades of this now, but this is Daisy that I pulled, and it's just so excellent. It's so freaking pretty. I still have the stain from the Lassie lips on my hand here, but it's such an amazingly like sheer, nourishing, beautiful, like the perfect amount of shine without too much slip kind of formula, and these shades are so incredible. The packaging is so pretty. I just find that like this is the lipstick for people who don't really like wearing lipstick but like want the color, and it's not a tinted lip balm. It is a lipstick. It is just a sheer, creamy, nourishing lipstick, and it's gorgeous. Does it smell like anything? Yeah, it kind of smells a little bit like vanilla. It probably has a little bit of like vanillin in it. That's something that sometimes happens. It's not necessarily intended to be a fragrance, but it does happen to smell really nice. And I think that her like entire debut this year has been lovely. I'm wearing Paradise right now. I think this baked blush is comparable to Hourglass, and that obviously is a really high compliment. So I can't wait to see what else comes out from Allie's line because it's been really lovely. Oh, and the lip oil. She just came out with a lip oil and it's gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of the Odyssey lip oil from Milk, except I think it's a little bit more of like a liquid lip balm formula, but I wear it all the time. Like I wear it to sleep. It is actually a really good overnight lip treatment. And last but certainly not least, because this is the category for best release of the year. And if you've been watching my channel lately, you know what has been conspicuously absent in this video thus far. She's the one. Okay, love the Prada foundation, love the Fenty. This is off the charts. This is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Tint that came out this year, and it's unreal. The only complaint that I have heard from anyone is that they can't find a shade in it if they have kind of an obscure skin tone. And I think that that's something that Lisa is always going to bear in mind and try and expand on in the future. It is not an insensitive line necessarily. It is just that there are nuanced skin tones that when you're wearing something this thin, you want it to match perfectly. Anyway, when I talked about the Prada foundation and how lightly it wears and how effortlessly it wears, it's like take all of that and put it into a featherweight tint that looks like skin and is super hydrating. I went home for Christmas to see my mom, and my mother is, it's not even that she's discerning, it's that she just like has a difficult complexion to like match in terms of shade. She's got these kind of like interesting, slightly olive undertones, and her lips turn everything gray, but her cheeks turn everything red. And then when it comes to complexion products, like the last thing I actually hooked her on was like an airbrush makeup machine, because she just needed something that was not gonna like tug at her face. And then I took a really nice, cool, damp sponge and I applied this to 1/2 of her face. She is 67 years old, and it looked so beautiful that she bought it on the spot. If I can wear this, so many people in my comments can wear this. My 67-year-old mother can wear this, and I hear nothing but lovely, like not just, yes, that's good, but like, wow, wow, it just looks like my skin is better. And 10 hours, 12 hours later, even if it's like kind of rough circumstances, humidity, heat, what have you, I will get home, I will look in the mirror and I will go, that makeup is still there. How did she do that? I don't know. I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth and ask for answers. I just know that it works. It's so beautiful, and I forget which ingredient it is. Someone in my comments knew. Someone said it's a very expensive skincare ingredient that's very potent, whatever, is in this, because I could not explain why every time I wore it, I would wash my makeup off and go, my blemishes are less. You know what I mean? Like everything is less inflamed, things were healing. It was actually effective skincare that was like calming my skin of any inflammation as I was wearing it. And it's worth my money all day long. You know what I mean? So you can see, that's not even blown out. All the way back here, you can't see the label on it hardly anymore because I use it so much. I gave the next shade to a friend of mine, and actually the next shade to another friend of mine. She sent me 3. I have given them all away because I want people to experience these so badly. Like, I will never be without this skin tint ever again in my life. And I truly don't know what could top it unless my wants, my tastes, my needs change diametrically at some point down the line. As long as my needs are what my needs are right now, this is the answer. And it is so satisfying to find the product. I feel like so many videos and ink is spilled, you know what I mean, on the whole like pursuit of the holy grail kind of thing. You'll end up buying a gazillion and watch these people do these videos of like, I'm looking for the best version of this and blah, 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 and I bought all of these and blah, blah, blah. Fine, I think that that's what beauty reviews are for, but it's also like the best thing ever when you find the answer. It's like when I was looking for my natural deodorants and Kosas came out with their freaking AHA deodorant, I was like, done, easy. Of course, now I'm using the Fleur one. I think I'm gonna do another best of the best that's just non-makeup beauty items. We'll talk about like candles and fragrances and stuff like that. It probably wouldn't be as long. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, we'll see. The way that that deodorant was the answer to a very long pursuit of mine, this is the answer to like the everyday skin tint that also just looks perfecting enough that it could be a foundation. Every time I put this on, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I just watch it go on and I'm like, how does it do that? Every single time, you know? And I'm wearing it right now and it's drop dead gorgeous. It never cakes, it never gathers. I swear to God, it is so thin. It is water thin. So it's like if you liked the idea and the concept and like what they were going for with the original Kosas oil, the tinted oil that they put out, which was kind of a cool innovation at the time, but like there was no technology to it. It was literally just really nice dirt suspended in really nice oil. And like, that's fine, but we have come so far since then. If you liked that, this is the answer because it performs like that, but it performs. You know what I mean? It looks like that in the sense that it goes on in that beautiful, like seamless, like what the heck is it doing? I didn't know my skin could look like that kind of way, but it wears. It's not, I mean, that Kosa stuff, you could touch it and it would just come off. This is not gonna do that. It's really, really tenacious. It's really, really high performing and my skin is better every day that I wear it. I mean, what more could you ask for? So now's the time for me to get a little bit sentimental with y'all because good grief, it is December 30th of 2024. This year has been really freaking wild for me. The highest highs, the lowest lows. I have had my divorce finalized. I have had 2 breakups. I have had what I consider to be meteoric growth on my channel. I have also had a new entire pocket of content open up that I had no idea that anyone would be interested in, which is color theory. Because like my senses for color are so strong, I didn't realize that that was something that people wanted me to talk about. And the response has been so overwhelming and so beautiful. The fact that I will get a comment from someone that says, I'm 80 years old and you just made this make sense to me for the first time in my life. I never knew that makeup and an art degree and, you know, a cosmetology license could make a difference in people's lives like that. And it humbles me every single day. And it does not go to my ego. It really goes straight to my gratitude for, I don't know, I guess just being able to find my people. I've been finding my people the whole time, but I feel like this year my people found me in a way that I'm doing what I'm not sure that I knew was my goal in the beginning of my channel. I don't think that I set out with the goal to help people. I think I set out with the goal to make a career that was fun for me, that didn't feel like work. And if people liked it, that meant that I was succeeding, and being liked was sort of the top priority. Since then, I have developed the ability to not be afraid of being disliked, and I find that that actually attracts a lot more authentic of an audience, and that's the kind of people that, you know, come here, and that's fantastic. And also the ongoing conversation, I think that that's huge. I'm so glad that I didn't just like overnight go to like 1 million subscribers, because I wouldn't have built this rich relationship with all of y'all where I feel like I can read the comments and not be afraid that someone's gonna say something like so mean. And also, y'all help me. You tell me recommendations, you ask me questions, you tell me your feedback on products that you've tried that I've recommended, and it all helps to enrich the quality of this channel and how helpful it can be to other people. So I have nothing but gratitude for y'all. And I want to thank you for taking this year that I have had some of the lowest lows. Y'all have given me some of the highest highs, okay? I love my job. I have the best job in the world. I have the easiest job in the world. I feel like I am completely full of ideas in the best way possible. I'm so excited to go into the new year. My job is the one thing in my life right now that I feel like is a true expression of me, and it is a reflection of the decisions that I have made and also the people that I've attracted, which again, grateful, but like the decisions that I have made to always pivot towards my own happiness. I think that a lot of people lose their way when there's a lot of money involved and things like that, and I'm not trying to say that I'm some high and mighty person. I just have always valued my happiness first and foremost, and so that's what I use as my North Star to make all of my decisions, and therefore I end up being really freaking happy in my job. And y'all make me really happy because I feel like you can feel it through my channel, and that's why we're all here. It's just a really, really fantastic community. I'm so proud to be able to call y'all my people, because you're funny or funnier than me. You're smarter than me. You're cleverer than me. I've made friends. I've made acquaintances. I have these like very, very long time viewers I'm in communication with. And it is such a compliment to me as a human being, the people who come to this channel. So just understand that you are part of something for me that defines a huge portion of my happiness. So thank you. Thank you for this year. Thank you for putting me over 100,000 subscribers this year. Something I never thought was gonna happen. Like, I think that, I don't know. I think that I did in the very beginning. I was like, I'm gonna just, you know, straight to the top because I'm the best, because I'm an Aries, you know, and I was just like, this will be easy. And it was so not easy. And it has been such a journey in getting to know myself, and every single challenge, every single win over the years has been so necessary in its slowness, in its ability to teach me patience, that it's allowed me to savor each lesson and each win in a way that I feel like has made this channel a place where I feel really comfortable being myself. And I really, really appreciate y'all so much. So, not gonna cry. Too much crying lately. I think I'm just out. But I wanted to thank y'all for a wonderful year. I hope y'all had fun too. We're not stopping anytime soon. Let me know what kind of color theory videos y'all want to see coming up, and we'll do it. and anything else also, but I love you immensely. I love y'all so much. I appreciate you so much for being here. It's a stupid thing to say because it's very obvious, but it's like, I wouldn't be here without you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. But I have y'all to thank for it, and I'm so grateful for just the conversation, the way that this continues to be a conversation that is so fulfilling for me. So thank you. I usually do a word of the year, and I realized that I didn't do that this time. So a word of the future year, the coming year. And you know, it's gonna sound a little weird, but my word of the year is me. As I invest in making myself a more interesting person, everything else in my life improves. Instead of kicking around all of the nonsense in my brain backwards and forwards and trying to systematize the difficult things in my life or the challenging things in my life or even the creative challenges, to just take myself as a priority, to learn more, to expose myself to more things, to just newness, you know what I mean? So I guess you could say newness, curiosity, whatever, but it is this like pivot towards not me being like, oh, I need self-care, but like me, I need to invest in me. I need to like put more software in my brain. I want to like make sure that I am constantly like reinvesting in my own brain and my own creativity so that I have, you know, infinite resources to give, because that is what makes me feel the best. So that's my word of the year. I invite you to make me, your word of the year too. I love y'all. I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy. If you liked this one, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see y'all in the new year. It's probably already the new year by the time this came out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye y'all.